Hello, wonderful people. You're welcome to today's video. In today's video, we'll be looking at conventional signs and symbols. That is the lecture for today. Conventional signs and symbols. Conventional signs are graphic symbols widely approved for a usage to represent features on the surface of the map or chart. When we say something is conventional, we are referring to tradition, lay down rules to be followed. So the symbols and the graphics used for mapping, those symbols are tradition, are laid down by the world that these are the symbols or type of symbols and signs that are to be used when mapping. Okay, so it is widely approved. It is not only known in this side of the world, in Africa or in Nigeria. It is worldwide, meaning the graphic symbol you use to depict or to show river is the same graphic symbols that are used in US, in Australia, in Europe, in Asia, in all parts of the world is the same. So cartographic graphic image is symbol. So the graphic image of cartography is symbol. So those symbols you see, that is the image of cartography. The next we are looking at is map symbols. Map symbols are grouped into four. Map symbols are grouped into four, be it thematic, be it general, be it navigational, be it globe. When I say a general map, I'm referring to topographical map, thematic map of different types of map, navigational, be it aeronautical or nautical, and the globe. So all those pictures are grouped into these four symbols. And what are the symbols? These are the symbols: the cultural or man-made features, the isometric or relief features, the hydrographic features, and vegetation. Cultural or man-made features, for this we are referring to anything made by man, the features on the earth surface that are made by man or created by man. So the graphics or the symbols that you will use, that symbol is associated to black color. So any man-made feature, when you are depicting it or mapping it or drawing it on the face of the map, the color associated to that is black. For isometric, in this we are referring to the contour lines. The graphics there is line. Okay, the graphics there is line. So for contour or isometric or relief feature, the color associated with that line is brown. Okay, is brown. For hydrographic feature here we are referring to water bodies, be it ocean, be it river, be it sea, be it lake, be it pond, be it stream. They are water bodies which are grouped into hydrographic features. And the water body for that, if it's ocean, sea and big river, the graphic there will be area or polygon, will be area or polygon, okay. But if it's stream and the stream is not wide, we use line. For vegetation, sorry, before I get into vegetation, for the hydrographic features, the color associated with that is blue. For vegetation, we have the green, okay, be it rainforest, be it lowland, be it farmland, be it plantation, the color associated with that is what? Green. And the graphics is polygon or area. Next that we have here is categorized or categories of cartographic symbols. Categories of cartographic symbols. Cartographic symbols are further categorized into this: point symbols, line symbols, area symbols. For point symbol, it is used to represent location on the map, that is XY coordinate on the map, okay. It could be a shop, it could be a tree, could be a borehole, could be a well, that XY coordinate, okay. So it is used to represent features that is on the that's only XY coordinate, which is point, that is location. Then for line symbols, it is used to represent linear features such as road, stream, railway, footpath, major, minor, electric pole and what have you. So line symbols, it is used for that. And line symbols are series of XY that are joined, series of XY coordinate that are joined, okay, to have it as a line. Then for area symbols, this shows the extent of the features depicted on a map, the extent of the feature, like the vegetation we just finished talking about, I just finished mentioning. So it is used for that. Or if it's a large scale map, the extent of the building or the extent of a settlement. So area symbols are used for that, and many more examples. Next on the slide here is qualities of symbols. Symbols must have these qualities. The sign you use to depict the feature must have this quality. One of it here is simple design. It must not be ambiguous design. Cartographic language is graphics or is symbol. So the symbol must be simple to communicate, should not be so ambiguous that the user find it difficult to read or to interpret it, okay. Because the symbols for cartography, sorry, the language of cartography is graphics or symbols. So the symbols you use must be simple. And next, it must be close to the picture, it must resemble that picture. You cannot use borehole, maybe you are depicting borehole, you cannot use the symbol for borehole to that of tree. So it must have the resemblance, okay. Next there is not more than a picture should be depicted with a symbol, that is one picture for one symbol. not two pictures for one symbols or two symbols for one pictures. If for instance you are mapping hydrographic features, what I mean by hydrographic, all those water body, maybe pond, lake and what have you. Okay, let's say pond and lake. So the graphic symbol you use for pond must be different from that of lake. Yes, they are the same group. Yes, they are the same class, which is hydrographic. It must be different. Okay, but the color is blue, don't forget, but the symbol there must be different, so so that the user can interpret it, can understand what you are trying to say. It shouldn't be that you say this is symbol, this is pond, this is graphics, and this is pond, this is lake, and you use one symbol to do that. No, it shouldn't be. So don't use two symbols or graphics to depict one pictures, or two pictures to depict, to use on one graphics or symbols. Next there is, it should be self-explanatory. Should be self-explanatory. It should be easy to draw. Okay, so those are the qualities of symbols that are used on cartographic mapping. We have characteristics of symbols. Characteristics of symbol: one, appearance in plan, shape of the building. On the map we should also have that shape, we should see the building footprint as it is. Appearance in profile, that is, on the map chimney and windmill. If you are mapping and that area or that locality has windmill, so it should also appear like that on the map. Okay, chimney, chimney, that's like so also appear like that on the map. Appearance in function, so this shows the type of work that is carried out in a location. Okay, it could be quarry site, could be farming, could be mining. So it should also be indicated or depicted on the map. Components of graphics. Component of graphics. We have the legibility, we have the visual contrast, we have the visual balance. Look, legibility cannot be overemphasized. The graphics or the symbols you use on that map, on the face of that map, should be legible enough for the user to be able to interpret the map, because you, the map maker, or you that produce the map, you will not be there to explain to the user. The map can travel as far as maybe to Europe, to North America, to South America, to any part of the world. You may not be there. Okay, assuming the map is on the web, is web map, as the user access it, look at it, make use of it, will you be there to interpret? No. So for that reason, the graphics should be legible. It should not be too tiny that the user will be straining his or her eye to see what is on the map. It should not be too tiny. So it should be legible so that it will be readable. The next is visual contrast. Visual contrast is very important. Okay, it's very important. For instance, if you are mapping and you are mapping, let's say foot map, footpath. There are some footpaths that are minor, there are some footpaths that are major. So the visual contrast should be clear that this is minor footpath. This is major footpath. The contrast should be there. Okay. And another example for that is the background of the map. We should not overshadow the symbols or the graphics of the map. The next point is visual balance. There should be visual balance. The text on the map, on the face of the map, should be balanced. Some text should not be too big than others, except in the case of the title of the map, except in the case of the title of the map, okay? Or if you are mapping settlement, the importance of the settlement. So aside that, there should be visual balance. Some text, if it's in case of the text on the map, the text should not overshadow, and the map should not be conspicuous, should not be noisy. What we mean by noise is so choked up that the user find it difficult to interpret the map or to use the map. Next that we have here is color in cartography based on purpose. Color in cartography based on purpose. One of it, the use of color in cartography representation involves several important choices. One of the choices is what? The purpose. The purpose, what is the map meant for? When you know the purpose, you now that will now influence the choice of the color you are to use. Note, color work hand in hand or is in pursuit with graphics and symbols. With graphics and symbols. Okay? They goes along, they goes together. You cannot talk about graphics without mentioning symbols, or you can color, or you cannot talk about color without mentioning symbols. Okay? So they works together. The next, based on purpose. Color in cartography based on purpose. The next here is qualitative use, for qualitative use. Example is land use or political map. Land use map or political map. The color, for instance, if the map you are producing is land use map, okay, on that land use map we have residential, we have commercial, we have reserve and the likes. The color that you use for residential buildings, or sorry, residential, will not be the same color for commercial, will not be the same color for commercial land use, will not be the same color for reserve. So with that purpose, it will influence the choice of color. Next is sequential use for ordering of data. Example of that is population density or election. In terms of population density, we have what we call the map we call choropleth map. In using color for this, you can pick a good map maker or a good producer of map can use one color and varies the color, that is in a ward or in a locality where the population is high, the color, that one color the map maker could use maybe red, so that red in the area where the population is high, that red will be intense. Okay, if you cannot make use of that, you could use different color to depict that. Another purpose for colors in cartography is diversing use of data. This is mainly for temperature map making. Then next, color in cartography based on users in terms of color, contrast and legibility. Ensure enough contrast between background and foreground element. So that is, here is referring to the image or the graphics or the symbol of the map should not be conflicting with the background of the map. The graphics or the symbol of the map is the foreground, okay, is the foreground element, while the other like the color of the map, normally the background of the map should be white. Normally, ideally, it should be white. Reason for this, so that white is, let me say, neutral. Every other features or graphics on that map will be shown well. But if the background of the map is green and you have a picture that you map on the a picture on the face of the map that is green, the picture or the graphics or the symbol on the face of the map will be lost into the background of the map. Okay, so that is what here is saying about. So there should be legibility. Next is avoid color combination that may be difficult for color blind users to distinguish. Example, red and green. Okay, while I was preparing this slide, the title that I used here was red, and it was affecting my sight. So I have to change it to green. And when I changed it, I felt, and I said, well, I think the user or my viewer, this will be cool for them. As in, this will be okay for them. Okay, so that is to buttress this point. Okay, should not be difficult for color blind users to distinguish red from green, red and green. Properties of color. Color has properties. Okay, color has properties. There are three. We have the hue, we have the value, we have the saturation. The hue here is referring to the names of the color: green, black, white, yellow, purple, orange and what have you. That is hue. When you say this is black, you are referring to hue. When you say this is green, you are referring to hue. You say this is red, you are referring to hue. Okay, so that is hue. So that is properties of color. Then we have value. Value here is referring to the degree of dark or light of a color. Okay, when you introduce numbers, maybe a color, are you getting me? You maybe, for instance, let me say you are mapping hydrographic features. Hydrographic feature, the conventional color for it is blue. Okay, and you are mapping, maybe let's say, three types of water bodies: lake, stream, ocean. Note you are using blue because that is the conventional. Lake, stream and ocean. The value for ocean should not be the same for that of lake and that of stream. That is to say, what I mean by that, I mean the blue for ocean will be deeper than that of lake, and the blue for lake will be deeper than that of stream. When you do that, that is what value. Okay, next here is saturation. Saturation here means the intensity of the color. Most map makers don't use it, or most map people that make maps don't use it because of color blindness and obscuring some other features on the face of the map. So it is not too in use. If you can manage it well, can use it. In conclusion, note that symbols and signs used in cartography are conventional rules which must be abide or followed when making maps. So the symbols must be adhered to when you are producing map or when you are making map. So thank you for listening. See you in the next class. Please, before you go, any question, comment below. Write it on the comment section. I will reply. Any question, feel free to write it on the comment section. I will reply. Then um also on the comment section your matric number, and also don't forget to like, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Thank you. See you in the next class. Thank you.